This new secret little Fortnite update that Fortnite announced yesterday caught the entire community off guard, but not necessarily in a bad way. So just yesterday, Fortnite tweeted out something pretty interesting. They said transmission from command. OXR battling? The bugs are on their last legs. Not sure how to say that, but repel the menace, hold the line at all costs, and above all, finish the fight. Now, this is something that's really interesting because there's some lore in here. As you guys know, we've been very, very high on the lore these last couple of months here, and this is some really interesting stuff. So a lot of people were confused. The bugs are on their last legs, which is really weird. We had the medallions that were removed from the queens. They said the queens were getting weaker, and now the bugs in general are just getting weaker. So it looks like we're kind of like the OXR and, the people of the island are kind of like winning the war right now. And they also say, above all, finish the fight. So how early is this fight actually going to end? I assumed that this would be something that would go on throughout the entire season, but maybe because it is such a long season, it's going to end a bit earlier than what we thought. Maybe we'll have this cool like transition. Maybe it'll turn into like a whole different theme or something like that. I think that could be really cool, and maybe that's why they didn't call it, bug swarm or bug invasion or something like that. And then they said this. They said the shockwave hammer was unvaulted. The significantly fewer swarmer bugs on the map. There won't be as many bugs on the map. OXR outposts reclaimed and cleared out. Bomber and swarmer bugs weaker and slower. So in general, this is just like an overcast, like an entire just like destruction of the bugs. Like the bugs are kind of terrible now. Like they're not really, as annoying as they were. Now, when I actually played the game, and in the background right here, you are seeing gameplay of the new updates. So everything that is in this video, except for the shockwave hammer. I actually only was able to find it once, and right after I found it, I died. So I actually don't have the clip of that or anything. I only had it in my inventory. I didn't actually get to use it, but the shockwave hammer being back is really interesting. I don't really think there's any type of lore behind that. I don't really know how they would get kinetic ore on this map, but I'm not going to look too deep into it. Some people are looking kind of deep into it, but you can find the shockwave hammer. It's been unvaulted on floor loot as well as in chests. Now, something else also is that the hammer assault rifle has been vaulted. There were a few different variations of it, and it is completely gone as well. And also, this kind of sucks too. The Eradicator shock and slow shockwave launcher has been vaulted. Now, I'm not too upset about this because the shock and awesome, shock and slow shockwave launcher, whatever, it was actually kind of bad. Like, I didn't like how it completely slowed you. It kind of paused you in the air. It didn't work normally like how a normal shockwave launcher actually works. I didn't pick it up literally at all because it sucked, so I don't really care that that was vaulted. But another thing too, all OXR defense and reclaim base mid-match objectives have been disabled, so that really doesn't work anymore either. You can't go there to get loot. I always thought that was pretty fun to do. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is another bad nerf, but honestly, I don't really think it's that bad. I really like when Fortnite does updates like these that correspond with the actual lore of the game. So, we've had stuff added in when the bugs were kind of, leaning into kind of winning the war. Now we're having stuff where OXR is kind of winning the war. So if we kind of see this back and forth and we see stuff added and taken out, added and vaulted, whatever word you want to use, I think that would be pretty cool based on, who was actually winning the war. A lot of people are saying too that they think the OXR is actually going to betray us because of that emote that is coming out, which I do still need to make a video on that. I actually completely forgot that this emote right here existed, and that they're actually looking for something a lot more and are protecting the island for other reasons, and they're going to end up betraying us in some way, or once they take over the island or whatever, they'll end up using it for bad or for their own endeavors. I think that's really interesting. The lore is definitely affecting what is added and taken out of the game. I think that's really cool. I hope they don't completely remove the bugs at all during this season, because that's kind of the whole point. We're defending against the bugs unless they do something else really, really cool. But something that I do want you guys to keep in mind is that they're kind of advancing this season really fast. The war, they're saying like complete the fight and things like that. We could see another one of those seasons where the season, like the lore, the updates and stuff, kind of ends once Fortnitemares comes out. Last year when Fortnitemares came out, after that it was just Fortnitemares for like the entire like last month and a half, something like that. And after that there was really no more lore stuff. There wasn't really any crazy big updates or really stuff focused on the main season of, season 4 or anything like that. I think that's kind of what we're going to see with this season as well. And hopefully we do have some awesome hype for the next mini season. Hopefully it is just a general cartoon season and not just a Simpsons season. I think that would be kind of lame. That would be kind of boring, especially considering, how a lot of people think the game is in a bad place right now. But of course we will just have to wait and see. Also, some extra stuff, you guys. Beavis and Butthead is coming to the game in just about 2 days, I believe, 2 or 3 days. It's going to be coming out. It's coming out on September 5th at 8 p.m. ET. Of course, the normal like item shop refresh. There's going to be a ton of cosmetics for that, so make sure you guys are in game if you would like to buy those during the item shop refresh. But guys, that's pretty much everything that happened in this update. It was just a little bit weird, and it seems like OXR is actually pushing back the bugs pretty hard. But let me know what you guys think about these unvaults and vaults, and what do you think is going to happen in the lore? Let me know. Drop a like on today's video. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.